Are you okay like that? Thanks for this, Jan.
Definitely okay.
Yeah, just having a great conversation. Should have recorded about 5-10 minutes ago. Jan, but double barrel name, Jan-Willem. We call it double barrel.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
My children have double barrel surname as well, but it's
I see.
nice when you see double barrel first name. You get the best of both worlds.
it's a fairly common thing in the Netherlands.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
Yeah, you have quite a few people with double names there.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, it's nice. Jan works in foreign relations, so we're just having a good conversation and exchange perspectives. Are you passionate about your job?
I am passionate about my job. I think
Okay.
it's interesting. I think, as we were discussing a couple of minutes ago, it's a volatile world we're living in. We're seeing that a lot of structures that were given for many decades are disintegrating or weakening at the moment, which makes foreign relations a very interesting field to work in at the moment.
Definitely, yeah. And we're seeing more of a rise, like you said, of the multipolar BRICS nations starting to rise up.
Correct.
And I think that is an inevitability. The unipolar won't be able to be, at the moment, my limited understanding is because of America's military might, they're dominating or trying to unipolar, but it's going to be difficult for them to hold on multipolar down the line. Is that correct?
That's correct. A few things come to mind, things that we haven't discussed before. You mentioned the BRICS. I'm a bit skeptical about the BRICS as an alliance. It's a fairly loose alliance.
Okay.
I think it came up in the late 90s. Initially, it was just Brazil, Russia, India, and China. At some point, South Africa was also added, which added the S in BRICS. Nowadays, you have a bunch of other countries who are also BRICS members. I think Ethiopia, Saudi Arabia,
Yeah. Iran
is looking to become a member as well. A bunch of others. I'm no expert on the matter per se, but for what I've read about it, it's a fairly loose alliance, not comparable to NATO, because what you see within BRICS as well is that you have a lot of BRICS members with conflicting interests. You have Saudi Arabia, who I think nowadays is a member, and you have Iran, who is aspiring to become a member of BRICS. But these two guys, they're actually rivals within the Middle East. Now, tensions have died down a little bit in the past months. But if you go back a couple of years, for example, with the civil war in Yemen, you would have Saudi Arabia and Iran diametrically opposed to each other. You would have them supporting opposing sides in this civil war. And that goes for several other relations within BRICS as well. A couple of years ago, I think it was 2 years ago, you had these border skirmishes between China and India. Both of them are BRICS members, but you actually had Chinese and Indian soldiers killing each other on the border.
Yeah.
China and Russia are now in bed together, but it's very much doubtful if that will remain so. I mean, traditionally speaking, those two countries have not always been friends. Even when both of them had a communist system, for much of the time they were actually rivals.
Yeah.
So right now they are in cahoots, they're in truck with each other.
Okay.
Because, I think mostly because Russia has isolated itself from the rest of the world through its actions in Ukraine. So it's sort of committed itself to this alliance with China because it had nowhere else to turn to.
Okay.
But I'm very much wondering how long that is going to last, because naturally, in the long run, I think these two also have opposing interests, Russia and China. So, long story short, I am skeptical about the
BRICS.
About BRICS, about the viability, about the about the additional worth that BRICS can have for its members.
Okay.
I think it's less strong an alliance than NATO.
Yeah. Shaky foundation.
Shaky foundations, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I was going to say something else, but I forgot now. Yeah, multipolar world. Yeah, as we were discussing a couple of minutes ago.
What would you prefer out of the two? Would you prefer the balance of multipolar, or someone's got a rule? Does it have to be unipolar? Would you prefer the alliance of NATO?
That's a good question. That's a good question. I think in many ways I would prefer the unipolar world, the American-dominated world order.
Yeah.
Although, and that's one big footnote that I would like to add, it very much depends on how the US is going to develop as a country. Had you asked me this question 30 years ago, I would have immediately said like, oh yeah, well, let's have the US as the safeguard, as the policeman of the world, upholding democratic values, upholding the rule of law. Nowadays, it depends. If the US is going to go further down this path of autocracy, if democratic institutions are going to be hollowed out further, I think then I would prefer a more multipolar world order.
Okay. Great point.
Under the condition, and that's something we discussed before we turned on the camera as well, that a good number of building blocks in this world order are democratic states, have democratic underpinnings, respect human rights, respect the rule of law. I was mentioning India earlier on, which I hope will adhere to its democratic institutions and traditions as well. Because that's not a given either. I mean, as I said before as well, India is far from a perfect country as well. You have a lot of ethnic, religious tensions within India, which could also threaten that country. I mean, if India develops into a Hindu ethno-nationalist state, I think that's a turn for the worse. But if it develops in the other direction, and there is opposition within India, democratic opposition to the current BJP governing party, and if that democratic tradition perseveres, then I am hopeful and optimistic that India could play a useful role and sort of reinforce the democratic humanitarian bloc within the world order.
Okay, no, great points. One question before you go, something someone always says to me, because I will say the democracy, but what they will say is it's double standards, because it's not the perfect form of democracy what we have in the West,
Definitely
in Europe,
no.
or in America. Like if you go back to the founding fathers, the Constitution. But what I try to say, I understand it isn't, but with participation from the public, ultimately we can change it, and we can work within them boundaries of the democratic principles, in contrast to Russia. I know it's Democrats, supposed to be post-Soviet Union, it's supposed to be more democratic, isn't it? But China's model is communistic. So their argument is, like the woman was saying, that Chinese communism is more democratic than Western democracy because it doesn't live up to its principles.
Yeah,
and I feel a solution for that is engagement with the public.
Yeah, I would agree so. I mean, democracy. First, let me say that democracy certainly isn't perfect. I think Winston Churchill said as much as well. He said, and I'm paraphrasing, he said something along the lines of democracy is the worst possible political system that I know. He said, but there's no better system that I can think of. And I think that sums it up. People aren't perfect. And I think democracy takes that fallibility into account. So
Great finish. Thank you. Really appreciate that, Jan.
No, you're welcome.
Priceless. Anything you want to say before we bring it to the close?
Well, I'd like to say thanks for the ride, Joseph. Thanks for the talk.
No,
it's very nice. Nice meeting you.
Great conversation.
Yeah, no. It was nice
Appreciate
meeting you, mate.
You too.
And take care.
Yeah, thank you. Anything you want to recommend in Amsterdam, Holland, for people to go and see, find out? Anything to educate people on foreign relations or anything like that?
That's a good one. Nothing comes to mind right now. Nothing specific.
I'll find something online and I'll put something just for the public
Sure
to be
thing.
educated more on the subject.
All right.
Yeah,
Very nice.
appreciate
Joseph,
that. Yeah.
take care, mate.
Thank you again.
All
Have
right.
an amazing day. Yeah.
Thanks. You will.
Thanks.
All right. Take care.
Look after yourself.
Yeah, we'll do.
Bye. Bye.